that gang through Katie. Is that right?
Yes, because she has 2 children with Garcia, but she was also dating
Charles Adelson,
the
who's
the brother-in-law of the man killed.
Right. The son of the woman that's on trial right now.
Yes.
And I know you've been really invested, so why don't you just I'll let you give a better background. I tried to do it while you were coming in the studio. So what exactly is going on right now? What's the status of it all?
Well, right now they're on a lunch break. This is day 2. The trial opening statement started Friday morning. I guess you said, the 2 Latin Kings guys, and then the baby mama of one of them who got them involved. They've all been sentenced. And so now they are, and the brother of Wendy. So Wendy and Dan were married. Dan's
the dead guy.
Dan's the one who was murdered. They were married. So I told Shaun, I said, this case has everything. It's got love and divorce and custody and murder for hire and controlling family members. Mother-in-law from hell. I mean, this mother-in-law may be the first one I know of that has mine beat. And so, I mean, they really, it's got everything. This case it's got something for everybody. But they started this trial against Donna, who is Wendy's mother. So Wendy and Dan were married. They were going through a divorce, and she wanted to move from Tallahassee back to Miami, where her family is from. They're very successful dentist, periodontist, and they've kind of built a really nice life for themselves in Miami.
I got them confused. I thought it was like they were related to Sheldon Adelson, who's the casino magnate that died several years ago.
No, they're self-made. They're self-made.
Well, they're not. They weren't. I mean, Sheldon Adelson's kind of infamous in Republican circles as one of the largest GOP donors ever, but they were not related to him.
Yeah, this family was self-made off of dentistry and have done really well for themselves.
Well, I looked that up actually when I read that about the dentistry. I'm like, God, could dentists did I pick the wrong profession? Not a dentist, but apparently what they did is they spread that out into not just like a guy with a chair and your regular dentist, but it was like cosmetic dentistry. They had several offices and they got into real estate pretty heavy.
What's the difference between a dentist and a periodontist?
That is a good question. I don't really know. I think maybe that's a specialist, I assume.
Maybe that's where the money is.
No, I mean, what I read is they specifically got into like cosmetic dentistry because you're in South Florida, which is a very big,
plastic surgery.
Yeah,
capital.
South Beach, all that models, actresses come down there. So they became very famous for that kind of cosmetic dentistry work, which is a lot of that's cash business because most of it is because insurance doesn't cover it. And that's where they're getting the cash to give to work on this hit, which we'll get into that too in a minute. I'll let you go, Lindsey.
Right. So he is shot and killed in his driveway, but broad daylight. I mean, the man took his kids they had 2 boys who were, I think, 2 and 3 at the time. Anyway, he took his kids to daycare and then went to the gym. They followed him to the daycare, to the gym, and then to his home. And when he got out of the car, they shot him twice in the head. He lived for about 11 hours, actually dying the next day officially.
And so let me back up with that. So the 2 guys that Lindsey's talking about is a guy named Sifredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. Rivera. Yeah, see, I know how to pronounce those. That's I grew up with a lot of Riveras.
I had to write them down to remember.
No, I grew up with a lot of guys named Rivera in Miami. That's a very common name. It's like Smith here. So they were members of the Latin Kings, and they were connected because Rivera was dating this Katie Magabana.
No. Garcia has 2 children with her.
Garcia does. And
Garcia has 2 children with her, and she was dating Charlie, who is the brother of Wendy, who was married to Dan.
Right.
There's a lot of players.
Yeah, and I'll try to make that simple. So this Katie, who's connected to the Latin King guy, Garcia, also was messing around with Charles Adelson, the rich dentist kid, which seems like a weird kind of thing.
Yeah, because that's 2 very different guys right there.
Yeah, very different guys. Rich dentist kid, or who's a dentist also, somehow got hooked up with this chick that's involved in the gangs. That I thought was pretty interesting. How did you meet this girl?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they didn't run the same circles. So anyway, and so she says, yeah, I got these guys that can, kill your brother-in-law. And Charles Adelson, who's already serving life without parole, it gave, I guess, funneled $100,000 to her to give to these 2 hitmen, which is Garcia and Rivera.
But the money came from the business, from the mom and dad's business,
right?
The dentist office.
And Charles is a dentist too, or was. He's in jail.
Yes,
not anymore. Maybe he's doing prison dentistry, but he's not. He's not a dentist. Yeah. So they she was kind of like the conduit for the money between them and the hitman, as far as I've read. Is that right? Katie.
Yes, she gets the money, and according to Rivera, who was on the stand Friday, he was paid for. I think they were each paid like $40,000 cash one-time payment, and maybe she got like $30,000 or something. But I mean, he's on the stand and just saying, yeah, they gave me $40,000 to go kill the guy, so that's what we did.
Yeah, and to give you all a little bit better explainer, too, so they get Rivera and Garcia get money from this rich dentist family that their purpose is to kill their son-in-law, which is Dan Markle, the law professor at Florida State, and he's married to Wendy Adelson, Donna Adelson, who's on trial right now, his daughter and Charles' sister. They pay this money because through the divorce, Dan will not let her move back to South Florida, which is what she wants to do with the kids. He is preventing.
It's also what her family wanted her to do as well.
Yeah, so that's the source of the conflict, y'all. Is that she can't move back with her children back to Miami. She's got to stay in Tallahassee, where he teaches law at the law school there, and so that's a big point of contention. So this is what this whole murder is about. It's just one of the stupid. Well, I've seen, believe me, I prosecuted stupider, and so that's what it's about. So they pay these guys through this Katie about $100,000 split between them. And they go drive from Miami to Tallahassee. And this is where they meet him in the driveway and they eventually shoot him, which I believe is a Garcia guy that does the actual shooting. At least according to Rivera, that's what happens.
Yes, according to him, he did not do the shooting, but he did get the gun. Yeah. He was the one who brought the gun. He drove the car.
But
he rented the car.
And mind you, this is all the way back in 2014. So a lot of people, my first questions were like, why did this take what's taken so long?
When no one was arrested until 2 years later. I mean, even shortly after. It's not that this has played out in court this long. They didn't have anybody until 2 years after the murder.
Right. And exactly. But what happened was they didn't know who would kill this guy initially. This is very, they don't know who did it because it's a hitman murder, which is sometimes that's hard to connect. What they eventually do is they find out that these guys rented a car and drove from Miami to Tallahassee, and they were able to track their cell phones as well. They shut them off at some certain points. So they used
during the murder, they shut them off.
Right. They used a lot of cell phone tracking, which I used to use as a prosecutor all the time, which is so beneficial on the state side. I can tell you how many people that committed a murder. It's because of the cell phone evidence that I got them, and that was there. They were able to track them from Miami to Tallahassee and back. And the only time they shut it off, as Lindsey said, was during the actual murder.
But also really impressed how they were able to track the car, and we watched a documentary on Jesse, what's his name, the other night?
Smollett.
And that they did that with them too. They're able to track these cars. There's so many people that have cameras now, dash cameras and business cameras, and there's just cameras everywhere these days. And so they were able to track this car, this rental car, from across town. They show it pulling in the gym behind him. They show it leaving the gym. They show it taking an alternate route to his house. But they're following this car as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. There was the car evidence as well that was able to track them. And so then they've kind of got some of this stuff at the beginning of it, but they don't really have enough here to prove exactly who did this. So once they start putting the pieces together, what I thought, Lindsey, was interesting. The state attorney's office kind of did a sting on the Adelsons, and what they did back in 2 years later in 2016, they got a guy that went undercover and pretended like he was part of the hitman, part of Garcia and Rivera's crew, and hit him up for more money, which is a really common thing in a lot of these situations when you have people that are like not in the street life, best way to put it, that don't know the way things work. This happened if you watch a documentary called the Cocaine Cowboys, Kings of Miami, same situation happened in that case. That happened when they bought one of the jurors off. They used a fake person to say that he wanted more money or whatever. Anyway, same thing here. So they had an undercover agent that went to the Adelsons and met them at a restaurant and said, hey, I need more money to keep quiet about this, even though this guy was obviously was not involved with Garcia or Rivera. And they said a lot of incriminating things on the wiretaps that they picked him up on, or the recordings the guy was wired up. And that's kind of what led to Charles Adelson, him getting indicted, and then his trial where he got convicted later. And they've got 4 of the defendants are already convicted, which is the 2 hitmen, Garcia and Rivera, Katie,
who kind of set it up,
who's the bag man basically, and Charles Adelson, who's the brother of Wendy, who was of course Dan Markle's wife. Now it's their mom, who's like in their 70s, and she kind of seemed to be a mastermind of the whole thing. And
she's like the matriarch. It's like she pulled all the strings.
According to the state, at least.
In this family, it seems like she pulled all the strings. Like this morning, Wendy was called to the stand. So she's on the stand now. They're on lunch break, or they were when I came
Wendy
in here.
Again is the daughter.
She's the one who was married to him. They were going through this contentious divorce custody disagreement. And that was the biggest part of it, was this custody thing. This grandmother wanted her grandsons and her daughter to be able to move back to Miami and live close to her. No. And the dad of these children just wasn't going to allow it. But it seems as though Donna, the grandmother, Wendy, the mom of Wendy, she controls everything. You know, she was even sending Wendy, she set her up these fake dating profile accounts and would send her men that she wanted her to look at. I mean, it was that kind of sick level where she's just controlling everything in this family.
Yeah, exactly. Right. She seems to be, I mean, she's kind of like, I guess when you have really, really wealthy parents like that, they got to control you with money. That's why I kind of got the gist of this. And and that would have, and that seems like, so she probably is always saying, hey, look, man, you do what I say, or I won't give you more money. I've had a lot of friends that are products of rich parents, and that's kind of seems the way they can pull the strings forever. So her son, Charles, Donna, who's on trial right now, who's in her 70s, gets convicted. And I think she starts seeing that the guns are pointing in her direction now. And so she tries to get on a flight to Vietnam, which is a country with no extradition treaty, and in the Miami International Airport. And that's where they
one-way ticket, by the way,
back in 2023. And they arrest her at the Miami airport with a one-way ticket to Vietnam. And since then, things have not been going so good with her, because now she is on trial, and the trial just started last week, and that's what we're getting into now. We'll get back to the rest of the trial, and and if you have decided to go after one of your in-laws,
if you decided to off your son-in-law, call Shaun. He'll defend you.
Go to onetextlaw.com, and I'd love to talk to you about that. It was not a good decision, and how we can possibly get you out of it. And we'll see you all at the next segment.
WYAB.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Nick Bain served Mississippi for over a decade in the State House. During that time, he fought for our children by protecting them against explicit materials pushed by the woke agenda. He protected taxpayers by streamlining government and helped create policies that have made Mississippi better. Nick and his team at Bain Bowen will use the same tenacity in helping you with all your legal matters. Call them today at 601-953-2994. Find Nick online at bainbowen.com. That's BAIN Bowen.com.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420. mypureairconsultants.com.
When you choose a natural diamond, you're choosing more than just a truly precious gemstone.
You're choosing a symbol of forever, formed deep within the earth over billions of years, not in a factory in China. I'm John.
And I'm Corey Ravenstein. At Juniker Jewelry Company, we understand the importance of legacy. We've been Mississippi's direct diamond importer for over 4 generations.
That's why we offer only natural diamonds, timeless treasures that become family heirlooms, passed down from generation to generation.
Every Juniker's natural diamond is hand-selected for its enduring beauty and brilliance, ensuring that your story lives on in something truly exceptional.
Come shop the largest selection of gorgeous natural diamonds in the state. Every shape, size, and price range, all at the guaranteed best price in Mississippi.
From the Delta to the coast, more families trust Juniker's than any other jeweler.
Celebrate your love.
Honor your legacy.
Naturally. At Juniker's.
Juniker Jewelry Company, 1485 Highland Colony Parkway in Madison, and junikerjewelry.com, Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
What are people saying about Tom's Fried Pies in Richland?
Tom's Fried Pies. And I made the mistake. I ordered one pie. I figured, you know what? I'll try Tex next. It was so good. Man, second go round, I ate the pecan pie. You will need a meat pie and a dessert one. Get both because they are off the hook.
I went to Tom's Fried Pies today, and I'm going back. I tried the taco one, really good. When I go back, I'll bring some home.
Tom'sFriedPies.com. Bank Plus makes it easier to bank. With extended drive-through hours plus 24/7 online and mobile banking, we're here when you need us. Lost your debit card? Get a new one instantly at any Bank Plus location. No waiting for the mail. And interactive teller machines offer drive-up personal service 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Saturdays. Your bank, your plus. Learn more at bankplus.net. Member FDIC. Here's a word from John White, the owner of Two Gun Tactical in Flowood and Ridgeland.
I carry a gun every day, all the time. Last year in America, 2 million legal guns were pulled, and it stopped the threat. So I'm really wearing a firearm just to stop the threat. There's more likelihood of me just pulling it and not using it than there is using it. TwoGunTactical.com, TwoGunTactical.com.
Two Gun Tactical, the South's only gun treat club. Come together right now.
And welcome back on the Lindsey Beckham Show, again here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studios of Mississippi. And I did mention that before you got here, Lindsey. So I did
I'm
not
so
forget.
proud of you.
And we are at the Cotton Exchange Plaza in lovely Flora, Mississippi on this Monday has been great. I went to court in Hinds County this morning, and you know how hot it is in the courthouse all the time?
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful. I mean, it was like I parked my car. It was a little bit further from the courthouse because it wasn't a parking space. And I wasn't sweating through my suit. It was like 75 degrees, like around 9 in the morning. It was the nicest. It was the nicest
but you know how
day.
Mississippi weather is.
Oh,
Likes
I know.
to play
It's come
tricks
back.
on you.
But I know. I heard this week's going to be kind of nice, and like the humidity's going to be a little low. At least we can. I know September's going to kick us in the butt. I got no doubt about that.
I'm sure.
But I
bet it's going to be really, really hot where Donna Adelson's going.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it was a nice day. So everybody enjoy today because it will be bad shortly. But yeah, again, we're talking about the Donald Adelson trial out of Tallahassee, Florida, that involves the murder of her son-in-law, Dan Markle, a Florida State law professor, way back in 2014. And this has been going on for 11 years. Different people have been convicted, and we went through that, and we'll kind of recap it here in this segment too. But there was a question on the comments about limited immunity. And so let me back up and explain where we are.
Well, I was going to say, I think the biggest question for anybody that looking at this is, did Wendy know? They were going through the divorce. Now she's testifying.
Yeah, let me explain.
Yeah,
listen who Wendy is. So everybody goes so Wendy Adelson is the wife of Dan Markle. Dan's the Florida State professor that got murdered by the hitmen Rivera and Garcia that were hired by Donald Adelson, who's in trial right now, and Charles Adelson. Allegedly. Charles is already in prison for life without parole, and Donna's in her 70s, is on trial right now. Wendy is her Donna's daughter, Charles' sister, and the wife of the deceased Dan Markle. So Wendy is actually testifying for the prosecution, and has in all these trials that she's testified. She said, yeah, and in Charles' trial, and Katie, who's the bagman's trial, and the Rivera, I think is Garcia's trial, because Rivera testified. Yeah, he testified. Yeah, and he testified. Rivera testified Friday afternoon that Wendy knew, and she was the one who wanted to put this plan into motion. Yes, and what the big question about this trial has been, what did Wendy know and when did she know it? Essentially, that's what it is. It's like, what did she know? Because you're thinking she's the one with the most to benefit from it, Lindsey. Exactly. Like, she's the one who's in this contentious divorce with this man. So she gets rid of him. She gets to move home with mommy and dad. I think, is dad dead now? He was alive. I can't remember. I saw. No, he's alive. He's sitting there on the front row. And I wonder too what his involvement was. They don't mention him. Maybe he's kind of trying to escape from. Seems like he's escaping from all this. He's like, I'm not staying out of the. This is why we stay out of the family drama. That's why I feel like we do. Well, that's why I feel like Donna kind of runs the show, because he's just kind of a quiet bystander. It's like what Donna said goes, but people are questioning, what did Wendy know and when did she know it? Now, we did get a question asking about her immunity, because she's taken an immunity deal. Shaun, you want to explain what that means? So Wendy, since obviously everybody thinks Wendy had to know. I mean, I think she knew. There's no way she didn't. I mean, I don't know how she didn't, because she's the one to benefit. So but the state can't prove that. It seems like they don't have any evidence on her whatsoever. She didn't. There's nobody's. She didn't know Katie, who's the bag man, so there was no conversations there. She wasn't at the restaurant with.
I've
Charles
never heard that term, bag man, before.
Never heard the bag man. That's a common one in this.
Heard of a bag phone?
No, she's the bag man. That's the one who carries the cash and hands it off. The bag man.
Okay.
Yeah, the intermediary. Well, so she doesn't. There's not really much evidence against her, and so what the government did is they gave her what's called limited use immunity, and that is a really, really complex thing because it's not something that's generally used a whole lot. Because if you're, I'm sure Wendy's got a lawyer, and if you're her lawyer, you're like, you're going to give her full immunity or nothing, or we ain't doing anything. Now, I'm assuming the state, Lindsey, like pressured her, saying, "Look, we're going after you if you don't do this. We'll give you limited."
Oh, I think they still are.
Well, I think it's going to be really hard, and here's why. So the government can only pursue charges if they develop evidence completely unrelated to what Wendy said under her.
Can't
her
get
immunity.
me out of your head, can you?
No, yeah, exactly. Wendy said under her immunity, that could include physical evidence, financial records, or separate witness statements. Now, it's just her lawyers are going to argue that anything she said is tangentially related to X, Y, and Z, and that is not in whatever they find is not independent of information that she has given them or she has testified to on the stand. It's going to be a really, really rocky legal road to get there if they want to do it. And maybe they'll get past the trial court. The trial court will say you can do it. They prosecute her, let's say, and she gets convicted. Then they got to worry about an appellate court overturning it. I don't like this limited use immunity thing. I never did it when I was with the state. If I'm representing somebody now, I would not probably agree to it.
One thing they've said to her every time that she's been on the stand, I've gone back and watched her testimony on the stand in the previous trials. And one thing that they say to her every time they get her up there at the very beginning is that you do have an immunity deal here. Now, you do understand that only applies to what you are about to testify to. That doesn't mean that you can't be prosecuted in the future.
Yeah,
so
right.
They have continued to say that.
No, and that's what it means, right? It's a very rare concept, I'm sure, and that's why they've had to explain it to her. But I mean, yeah, you're right. It's just she could have just been subpoenaed, and this was back in Charles' trial. Now this one, I guess, and she could invoke her Fifth Amendment right and do that. I mean, that's probably what I would do. I mean, that's what I would have done. That's the choice I would have said. I'm gonna take the fifth because I don't know what she's necessarily. I don't know what she's getting out of this. Now she's like helping the state, so she thinks the state is going to be nice to her down the road. I mean, I'll tell you what. When I was prosecuting, I wouldn't have.
Well, I'll tell you.
You have a duty to the citizens of your state to prosecute people that commit bad acts. I don't know that just because she's helping me to a certain degree that I'm now. If she like fully helped and she was going to plead guilty to something, then I'd cut her a break. But she's just trying to walk out with anything.
No, when he was initially shot, they had to find her. She was at a restaurant with two friends. They had to find her to let her know what's going on. This is the father of her two small children.
I saw that.
So they bring her in for questioning. And I guess you watched this part, but she almost immediately throws her family under the bus and basically tells the cops right then and there, well, my family doesn't like him. My brother made a joke, after the divorce, he got me a divorce present. He got me this big TV and he joked around about, I thought about getting a hitman, but I figured this would have been, this was better, or this is more affordable, and gives her a TV. So she immediately tells the cops this. And so it's almost like, what are you doing? Even I can't tell if she knew or not. I really can't.
Yeah, I mean, and apparently the state can't either, because if the state had evidence, Lindsey, that she did this, she'd be indicted.
Well,
There's
have
no way,
Rivera's testimony from Friday. He clearly says she was involved.
But I mean, all you got, that's a problem. So all you got is Rivera. Like that's
the gang members' testimony.
Yeah, you know how many times I've called a gang member with a million other felonies on their list that they've committed throughout their lifetime, and that's my own. You sat there with a trial with me when I defended somebody recently, and they tried to call that kind of witness, and you saw what happened when I cross-examined that witness, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't good for the witness or the state's case, because that witness is obviously getting a deal, which is Rivera's getting, because he's only doing 19 years when everybody else is.
But he's also got some other charges that he's having to serve. I guess one after the other. What's it called? Not consecutive. And there's some that concurrent side means they run side by side. Consecutive means one after. I can't remember if they said concurrent or consecutive, but I guess if they made that deal, would it be for him to testify that Wendy was involved? I don't know.
Well, I'm sure he's going to do whatever. I read Florida's law is a little different than Mississippi's. We don't have this rule, but they've got a rule about like a substantial cooperation rule, so they can reassess his sentence down the line too. it depends on how much she cooperates based on Florida law. Now, in Mississippi, we don't have that similar thing. The federal law you do, but not in state law. But Florida has that. I mean, I think you do what you saw what I did to that witness a few months ago. You tear him up because he's got a bias and interest for testifying.
Right. You catch them in so many lies that they have to say. In this case, in the trial that I was at with you, even this woman eventually. He had her in so many lies that she was like, yeah, I'm a liar.
Yeah, I know. That was the first time I ever had like a witness admit to me that they were a liar on the stand. It was really fun.
I mean, what else can you say at that point when you've been caught in so many, like a spider web of lies?
It was. And I think that's your problem. So if that's your only evidence against Wendy, that ain't good enough. Now, maybe you could flip Charles at this point. He's thinking, got a life sentence and my sister's testified against me in my trial. Maybe, I
should get her back.
And he could get a substantial cooperation thing because that's apparently Florida law. So there's a lot of angles. I don't know what the benefit to Wendy right now is with this limited use immunity. That's what kind of boggles me, unless she just thinks she's playing nice with the state. Like they're not going to go after her but now I think with all this media attention, like you said yesterday, like everybody's in the comments forced. They're going to want this. They want blood on Wendy.
And she's a lawyer too. So she should know the ins and outs. She's an immigration lawyer.
Okay. No, it's a little different. She might not know.
But she went to law school.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't mean anything either.
In fact, that was a point of contention with her mother because Donna
That's how she met this Dan Markle guy.
I'm guessing so. I'm guessing Donna did not want her. I guess they wanted everybody to be a dentist like them.
Seems like that was a good way to go instead of being a lawyer. Like I can attest to. But that's the problem I think I see with that is what she did with this limited use immunity. If I was a lawyer, I'd try to held out for like you're gonna be blanket immunity or we ain't saying a damn thing. That's kind of what I go. But
I agree. And there's some other things. I know we got to take a break, but there's some religious aspects to this. And there was I read some of that. Try to buy him out, to let her move.
The buying out. I listened to that. I'm like, we can talk about those on the other side of the break. Bought out. That'll be our question for the audience. Yeah. Would you bought out of your divorce if the family had a bunch of money? We'll be right back on the Lindsey Beckham Show.
WYAB.
Friday Night Lights, family, and a hot Johnny's Pizza House pizza on the table. Now, that's our kind of hunt. Make it a sweep the kitchen and bring everyone together. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice. Here in the South, we keep our football loud and our pizza loaded. Grab a Johnny's Pizza House, sweep the kitchen, and cheer on your hometown team. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice. Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Friday Night Lights, family, and a hot Johnny's Pizza House pizza on the table. Now, that's our kind of hunt. Make it a sweep the kitchen and bring everyone together. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice. Here in the South, we keep our football loud and our pizza loaded. Grab a Johnny's Pizza House, sweep the kitchen, and cheer on your hometown team. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
CBS News Brief. President Trump says the U.S. military might deploy to Chicago and is ready to go on short notice to crack down on crime.
Chicago, everybody knows how bad it is. Everybody standing there knows. We know. You don't have to be doing any studies. They should be saying, please come in.
There is a blanket court order that automatically pauses any effort now to remove Kilmar Abrega Garcia, but the Trump administration isn't giving up. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
He will no longer terrorize our country. He's currently charged with human smuggling, including children. The guy needs to be in prison.
Garcia was detained by immigration authorities in Baltimore. He could now be deported a second time. With the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina approaching, nearly 200 current and former FEMA employees have published a letter expressing their concerns over cuts to the agency. On Wall Street, stocks are mixed. The Dow is down 250 points. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie.
Looking for adventure, amazing food, and a little relaxation all in one place? You'll find it at Cypress Point Resort in Brandon. Load up the family and experience a real drive-through safari, petting zoo, and thrilling guided Jeep tours. Then slow it down with mouth-watering steaks at the steakhouse, or grab drinks and live music at the tavern. Planning a wedding or reunion? Cypress Point Resort has beautiful venues and cozy lodging. Ready for your big day or just a weekend escape? It's everything you love about the outdoors with a touch of luxury. Cypress Point Resort. Wild fun right around the corner.
Here's a tip for buyers from RE/MAX Connection real estate agent Risa Jensen.
Buyers need to be ready. Start your mortgage process. If you're not paying cash in your mortgage, you need to go ahead and start that before you ever go look at a house. You walk into a house and you fall in love with it, and that's the one you want. You've not even started the process, and there may be multiple bids on it, and other people are sending pre-qualifying letters with their offers, then you're dead in the water. You offer what you are willing to pay for this property, and know that if you don't get it, you're okay with that. You can walk away.
RitaJensen.net.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's is a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
It's time to put a little more sizzle in your red-hot Mississippi summer at Mazda of Jackson. Drive away on your road trip with a boost from Mazda of Jackson's $1,000 off owner loyalty reward and low 1.9% financing on a 2025 CX-90, CX-70, and the assembled in America CX-50. And take advantage of the pre-tariff inventory before it's gone. It's time to choose Mazda. Shop online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson.
Come together right now.
And we're back on the Lindsey Beckham show here in lovely Florida, Mississippi at the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studio, Mississippi. Anyway, Lindsey, we were talking about the Donna Adelson trial. Miss Adelson, who's in her 70s, is the mother of Wendy Adelson, who was married to Dan Markle, a Florida State University law professor who was murdered in his driveway way back in 2014. And they are now having the trial of Miss Adelson. So, Lindsey, we were talking about the things they were trying to do instead of kill Dan, which would have been better.
Right. Which, I mean, now looking back at all of that, it's like, yeah, maybe they did kill him.
What's called, maybe they say it again now?
Looking back at all those things, it's like, well, yeah, maybe they did kill him because they were desperate to have Wendy move back to Miami. I mean, they offered him $1 million that he turned down.
Yeah, he turned down. So they each came up with other plans before they resorted to murder, which I guess is good. You don't want to let's think of other things before we have to kill someone. And one of them was to give him $1 million to let the kids and Wendy move to South Florida while he stayed in Tallahassee. He said, no, I'm not going to do that because I want to be around my kids, which I know, I did, since I don't have any kids but I've been divorced and know how that works. I thought you could move with your, and y'all, this is where my ignorance when it comes to family law, because I do not practice family law. The murder is my specialty, DUIs, those kinds of things.
Drug deals gone bad.
20 years in that business. I don't know anything about a divorce or child custody or any of that kind of stuff. And I don't want to know, but I'm going to ask the question here if Lindsey knows. So I thought if you get divorced, you always see the stories the mom just moves to another state. You're not allowed to do that. How's that work?
Well, I mean, I had my daughter in Birmingham and I moved back home to Mississippi with her.
Right. You're able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't anything that was ever really discussed in front of the judge. I guess maybe Florida law is different.
Yeah. I don't know. Cause I mean, I remember my cousin got divorced here many years ago and his wife just took off to Georgia. And that was the big point of contention.
He knew that was going to be the first thing she would want to do. He knew her family. He knew how they were. And maybe he took that to the judge and said, hey, the first thing she's going to want to do is move away with my kids. I don't want to allow that to happen.
Right. That's what I'm wondering. I mean, because it just seems like that's just generally happens in these cases. I mean, I've known so many people where that's happened to. You're right. Maybe it's a Florida law thing, or maybe you're talking about maybe he just on the front end before the divorce was final, he said, "Hey, look, we got to live in the same vicinity." The only thing though, my question to that is, why does he get to pick? Shouldn't
because that's where they made their home and that's where they had their kids.
Okay, that's right.
I would think.
Did they live there for? I guess they were there together for a long time, not in South Florida. Maybe they met in law school. I don't know. I have to look that up.
I'm not sure
for
how
some
long
reason
they were
in Tallahassee. Wow, anybody would want to live in Tallahassee. I don't know. I would definitely rather live in Miami, but I am biased because that is my home. So, and I love it.
And his religious views were also a point of contention. He was Jewish.
Yeah, well, she was to Adelson. That's a Jewish last name.
Yeah, they were. Mm-hmm. But some of these emails that they were going through today with Wendy on the stand were back and forth between her and Donna. And Donna is telling Wendy, you need to tell him you are not going to raise them in a Jewish home that's kosher. Right. That you are.
So he's like really Jewish, very Orthodox.
Very, very Orthodox. Now she, I think, was not, and didn't want to raise them under a certain religion. But what Donna was suggesting is, tell him that you're going to take them to church. You're going to bring in Sunday school teachers to catch them up on the Bible. Like she was telling
evil, man.
Yeah,
evil.
She was telling Wendy. She said, you need to put on the act of your life. Like you're going to have to make him believe these things, and so that he will be willing to, work with you on this moving back to Miami.
Man, they really went through everything. They're like, here's $1 million. Okay, let's convert the kids to Christianity.
Yeah, I mean, it was
that's really going to piss them off.
Catholicism.
Did they ever try to do that? Did they do it?
No, but that was Donna's plan. They didn't get that far because they ended up killing him.
They picked murder.
Picked murder.
I mean, why didn't they just? Well, because I did listen to one segment when they were talking about ways to torment him to make his life a living hell.
Yeah,
right? Like they were trying to do that.
Yeah,
and women are really good at that. So I figure that that should come naturally, right? They should be able to do that, and especially when you're getting divorced. So they could have, I guess, continuously tried to do that and say, try to make his life hard and push him to limits. I'm surprised they didn't. They should have okay, look, before you kill somebody, why don't you try all stops to really piss them off? That seems like the better option. Like piss them off first.
Well, Dan was saying that the kids were coming back to him saying that the grandmother, Donna, was telling them that their dad was going to take all the sunshine away and that he's just this really bad guy and he doesn't love them. And so she's also filling the kids' heads full of these crazy things about their dad too.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking too, it seems like this could have been resolved. I remember my cousin's case. I think what they did was she would actually have to bring the kids here every other week. Was required to do that. I mean, it seems
it also depends on the custody agreement.
If it's a
week on, week off,
man,
I mean,
right.
that gets really tough.
That does, yeah, because then obviously kids got to go to the same school. They can't go to school in Miami and go to school in Tallahassee.
Right, exactly.
So they're not gonna be able to do that.
And they're judges are a lot more prone to give dads now.
Yeah, the one
50-50.
I think it should be 50-50. I think that one other view of the weekend is very, very 1950s archaic kind of way of looking at it. In my mind, I mean, I don't know why it should be all on the way our system is now. I don't know why it should be all the mom.
The part of all of this that makes me think maybe Wendy didn't know is because I'm seeing it play out just how controlling Donna was. Now, Charlie and Wendy have an older brother.
Yeah.
His name is Rob.
Right.
And he has
of course
basically.
It is. I'm kidding.
He's basically disowned his mother because she didn't approve of his wife. Mm-hmm. And he's married happily. They have 3 kids and don't speak to Donna at all. But so it just seems like she has inserted herself into every facet of their lives.
To the point where everybody is totally effed right now.
I mean,
exactly. Everybody is
Charlie's in jail. Rob doesn't speak to her. Dan is dead. Charlie's in jail. And who knows what's going to happen with Wendy?
I mean, I understand Tallahassee sucks, but does it suck that bad where you can put your whole family through this? Like you can just, I mean, it's not a terrible town.
I don't guess I've ever been there.
It's really not that bad, but I mean, I wouldn't want to live there, but it's not horrible. I mean, I live in Jackson, so what am I talking about? But yeah, it's probably better than that. It's not terrible, but I mean, you could have sucked it up and just, or gone home with your parents on the week that he had the kids, or do whatever you got to. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like you got to resort to this, and it's funny because now I'm talking myself into like trying to explain this to myself, but I've had to do that so many times in my life in cases where I'm like, why did you? I mean,
why did it come to this?
Why did it come to this? I remember one guy prosecuted for, and he literally like someone stole like a cigarette from him, and he killed this dude. I mean, just that one always sticks out with me. I'm like, I mean, couldn't you just bought another pack of cigarettes or ask the guy for $5? I mean, this is just stupid stuff like that.
The really sad part too about this that I hate is that I think he probably suffered. The neighbor heard, I guess, the gunshots.
Because he lived for a while.
Yeah, he lived. And so when the neighbor walked over to check, he saw the car running and thought that he was about to pull out. So the neighbor goes back in the house thinking everything's fine.
Right.
But then a few minutes later, he just feels uneasy. So he goes back over there and the car's still sitting there running. And he walks up and he sees him, blood everywhere, laid back in the in the driver's seat, and he's moaning.
Yeah.
So I hate to think of that was at least 5 to 10 minutes that he was sitting there with nobody even knowing. Then his neighbor said it took forever to get an ambulance there, so he probably suffered.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, God, that's horrible. I did read that. Yeah, he lived for about 14 hours or something.
Yeah, it was the next day, so it had to be after midnight. I think it was maybe like a total of 11 hours or something like that. I can't remember. But his parents live in Canada, and they have said that they've even made some friends with some Florida legislators and have attempted to pass grandparents laws in Florida because they say Wendy withholds visits and phone calls with the kids from them.
That's, as far as I know, again, my limited knowledge about family law, that we don't even have that here, right? I mean, it's just
well, I know lots about this because I've had grandparents' rights filed against me, and you have your child has to be deceased, and you have to show that you had a very significant role in the children's lives, that it would be detrimental to them for you no longer to be involved. And I don't know that was the case with these children because they live so far away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that's always I do remember that from law school, the family law class. The only family law training I've ever had and ever want to have was, I remember that was a big thing. Like the point of contention was grandparents' rights. They don't really have them, and that causes a lot of fights within families for sure. I mean, Lindsey, this the whole thing though, all these cases that we and you and I've started like talking about and going over. Have you noticed one thing? Like, let's go back to the Carly Gregg thing, and then Karen Reed, and now this case, because Lindsey and I have started covering trials together for like the last year, talking about that. And then, based upon my life experience, the last 20 years of prosecuting and defending,
and my love of true crime,
what's the one thing that's a common denominator that you see?
That's a common denominator
in all these cases. The common denominator is they're all domestic relationships of some sort. Every one of them. It's not a gangland killing. These guys were gangsters in it.
I guess you call mother and daughter domestic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're all family. Like this case is a mother-in-law or grandmother or whatever mad about her daughter's custodial relationship with her children and the father. The Karen Reed was about her relationship with her boyfriend. Carly Gregg was the daughter's relationship with her mother. It's all like the same thing all the time. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is that that's just something I noticed through the course of my career. When it comes to murder, it's most likely going to be somebody you know. I mean, that's something you just have to keep in mind. It's not always just you just get randomly killed by a serial killer.
Or somebody paid somebody to do it.
Yeah, I mean, which is same. And I mean, I've had one case in my entire life where I was like a quasi serial killer, and
that completely random.
Completely random, and like that's the only one, of course, that that one did trap a lot of my attention for many years because of kind of work it took for that. But that was the only time I really saw something like that. And then you do see like these drug deal gone bad and some gang stuff, but then like 80% of it is stuff like, somebody in your family, a girlfriend, a wife, mad mother-in-law, the kid kills the parents, a parent kills the kid.
But that's why I think cops should take you very seriously when you feel threatened by an individual and you let them know about it.
I think so too. And we'll be back for the last segment. We'll wrap up. And while we're gone, please try not to kill any of your family members.
And if you do, call us.
OneTextLaw.com. We'll see you next segment. OneTextLaw.com. We'll see you next segment.
.1039 WYAB. This is Casey Holcomb with Mississippi Hometown Realty. Summer is here, and it's the perfect time to buy or sell. When you're ready, I want you to think of me first. I will help guide you through the entire process without the stress. Check out my website at mshomesforyou.com. That's mshomesforyou.com. This is Casey Holcomb. Still, I'm doing what I love and loving what I do.
MS license number 51833. Telephone number 601-398-1620.
Knock your healthcare needs out of the park with City Center Drugs. Hi, this is Mary Beth Hardy, owner of City Center Drugs, located at the District at Eastover in Jackson. City Center Drugs is your home run destination for prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, vaccines, and even unique gifts with custom gift wrapping. Whether you're aiming to maintain a healthy lifestyle or looking to score the perfect gift, City Center Drugs has got you covered. Swing by today and experience the winning team at City Center Drugs. Visit us online at citycenterdrugs.com and go Braves.
At Bank of Yazoo, we believe that common sense makes for better banking. That's why we've taken our array of checking accounts and simplified them for you, boiling down features and benefits to create our New You, Achieve You, Benefit You, and Protect You checking accounts. Ready to discover how simple is better? Talk with us today. Bank of Yazoo, Bank of You. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Attention homeowners and business owners. Complete Exteriors is now Elite Roofing and Gutters. Are your roof and gutters storm ready? The folks at Elite are your local experts in storm protection. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at eliteroofer.com.
Efficient and trouble-free payroll processing is crucial to a business's success, and a lot of businesses are struggling with it. PeopleLease, a local payroll provider, not only offers top-of-the-line software, but also provides on-demand payroll support services. With PeopleLease, you're never on your own at every step of your payroll process. PeopleLease has the expertise in managing payroll challenges and will work hard to understand your business and employees. That's what makes PeopleLease the perfect choice for you and your business. Learn more online at peoplelease.com.
Do you find yourself wanting to make a change when it comes to your smile? Dr. Camille Sandifer and her team at Sandifer Orthodontics make beautiful smiles happen. Dr. Sandifer offers top-of-the-line treatment options such as Invisalign and Damon braces. Sandifer Orthodontics now serving patients in their beautiful new Highland Village location, as well as by appointment in Brandon. Remember, a smile makes a big first impression, and Sandifer Orthodontics wants to make you a success. Visit our website at sandiferortho.com or call 601-981-5004 to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Venable Glass is your local glass expert, offering residential, automotive, and commercial glass. Venable Glass can do it all. What sets Venable Glass apart from the rest? Unmatched reliability and customer service. Don't forget, tell your insurance company that you want to use Venable Glass. And remember, you do have a choice. Let Venable Glass work hard to earn your business.
And we're back here on the Lindsey Beckham Show for the final segment where we've been discussing the Donna Adelson trial in Tallahassee, which is the hitman murder of her son-in-law, Dan Markle, Florida State University professor, way back in 2014. And when Lindsey and I were just talking about the trials that we'd covered delivered last year together, we did a podcast, if y'all want to check it out, on the Carly Gregg trial with Catherine Newman and Michael Smith, which was really fun. I enjoyed doing that with them. And we also did a and we were covering the Karen Reed. We did a few shows on Karen Reed trial, which is Lindsey's specialty.
I was obsessed
with that. We even went to Boston, not because of the trial, because I wanted to go to Boston and be a history geek and nerd out over everything.
Yeah, but when he said Boston and they were in jury selection at that point, I was like, yes, let's go. Let's talk to everybody about Karen Reed.
Where she asked every bartender about the Karen Reed trial. So we got to talk about that up there in Boston and went through that extensively. And then now this trial, and we're going to do, I think, a podcast, I'm sure, about this one here shortly.
It's interesting.
And,
it's got a little bit of everything thrown in there.
Yeah, it's got great stuff. And the thing that I was explaining to her last segment was that the one thing I've learned in 20 years of handling lots and lots of murder cases, whether it be on the prosecution side, and now I've handled a ton on the defense side, that it's so many times it's the majority of the times it's somebody you know. It's a lot of times somebody you know. It's a family relationship, not necessarily like your girlfriend or your wife, but that's a big chunk of it. Trust me, I have put a lot of people in jail that have killed their girlfriend or wife. But it's a lot of times it's a family. It's, a mother killing a kid killing a parent. Here you got a mother-in-law trying to kill the son-in-law. It's
crazy mother-in-laws.
People get really mad at each other in their personal lives. And I understand that. We've all been there. Just hope it doesn't rise to the point of murder, because it doesn't end good for the person that's killed or the person that gets sent to jail.
No, and the kids are the ones who suffer the most in this.
And the other family members that are still living have to suffer that. But if you do end up killing a significant other, you can reach me at
or anybody for that
textlaw.com. I have a lot and decades of experience in that, and I will glad to help you out. But we will see you tomorrow.